everybody, it is Petra. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. And as you guys can tell by today's title, I am going to talk about what it's like to be living abroad. If you guys did not know, I was born and raised in upstate New York. Then 12 years ago, not necessarily quite 12 years ago, next month it will be 12 years, but we're just going to go with 12 years. But 12 years ago, I decided to leave the States. I spent the majority of the time in Belgium, but now I am currently in France. It's been almost 5 years that I've been in France. So as me filming this video, I'm just going to mainly talk about what it is like living in France, not mainly in Belgium, but mainly in France. So I am specifically in a ski station, working and all that. So I thought I would share some things about what it's like, because I think 12 years, a little over a decade, I think I have some experience on talking about the subject. So let's just get this video started.
A few moments later.
So the first thing that I would like to mention is about what it's like moving abroad. So as soon as you make the decision to decide whatever country you're going to decide to live in, however, the first few weeks is going to be so exciting, because you don't know the place that you don't really quote unquote know a lot of information about the city that you go and stay in. You don't know anybody, so you're so excited to explore the city and everything. But always keep in mind that after a few weeks or months even, that excitement is going to wear off, because then you're going to really start realizing, well, I still have to pay my bills, I have to clean my place, I still have to go to work and all of these. So basically, yeah, it's exciting because it's a new place you don't know. But basically, with all the issues that you experience wherever you were born and wherever, that brings along with you. And that doesn't wear off. Now, it depends on the person. So it can be like after 2 weeks, the excitement wears off and everything. For me, I think it took me maybe about 2 months for the excitement to wear off. Like, oh my god, man, I'm in a ski resort and everything. So but I was definitely most excited as soon as I started coming to this ski station that I'm at. For like the first 2 months, I was like walking around, and especially the first season that I did over here in the ski station, I was going out like every single day because I was just so excited. And even though the excitement started to wear off, I did not want to stop going out, because I wasn't sure I was going to stay here and make this a permanent living situation for me. So I just wanted to keep going out and try to get the excitement involved so it doesn't wear off. And the last thing I would like to mention is that, yeah, if you're moving abroad to get rid of the problems or whatever, get away from the situation that you're in, if you do not heal yourself first, it's not going to do anything. Yeah, maybe the first few months it's going to be quote unquote disappeared, but it's going to, at some time it's going to come back and everything of the situation. So just because you're moving abroad doesn't mean your problems are going to go away. Now, the second point I would like to mention is making friends in a different country, like while you're living abroad, is so much harder, especially like if you're like me, if you're living in a ski resort. There are different seasons where people will come and go, and it's difficult to stay in contact with them, because the first few months is going to be so exciting. You're making new friends and all of that. But not only that, these people already have some type of group. They know all the people that are coming in, so it is a lot harder. In my personal experience, what makes it harder or making friends is trying to learn the language. There's still a language barrier. Yes, I might know French, but keep in mind that I learned French in Belgium. So Belgium's French and France's French is not the same at all. So there's already that, and then I also do have a heavy accent. In my French, yeah, I'm fluent, but there's still a lot of problems with my French, okay? Even though I might be fluent, there's still some issues there. So there is a language barrier, and what's also very difficult is trying to adapt how people work, like try with communication and everything, on how everything works. So like most of the time, if you don't reach out to them, they're not going to reach out to you. So if you're very introverted like me, this is going to be very difficult for you to do, to try to reach out and talk to these people, to make plans to go out, because you're already making yourself feeling uncomfortable because you're moving to a different country, to a different city, or wherever you are. But in my situation, I'm living in a different country, so already I'm living in a different country. And that's going to make you, if you're like me, that's going to make you feel already uncomfortable, because you're coming to a place that you never knew in the first place or whatever. So it's already make you feel uncomfortable. And then what's going to add on top to that is you have to force yourself to communicate with other people, to go out, to make plans and everything. So that's already very, very difficult if you are a very introverted person. Following to the next step, which comes online what I was saying about how I'm living in this ski resort is a seasonal, is people come and go within your lives. Because if you're working like me in a ski resort or a beach or whatever, where they only mainly do seasonal work, you have to get used to of saying goodbye to so many people that you made such great memories with during the 6 month span, or whether the 3 month span, or whatever, how long you stayed and everything. And it's like so hard to leave. And what's so hard about this is because you meet so many like amazing people after these, like if the season when it's over. And it's just emotionally, it can be emotionally exhausting. That's like the best way to explain it. It can be emotionally exhausting because you meet so many people, and then the next day you just met them, and then the next day it feels like you already saying goodbye, like after a day, and you have to say goodbye. You have to say goodbye. Sometimes saying goodbye to the memories, because there's a good chance you might not see them again. Because hello, life. We're all getting older. We're all making our lives and everything on the way that we want to live our lives. So it can be very emotionally exhausting on keep saying goodbye to these amazing people. So if you do not want to do that, then don't necessarily work in a place where it's just mainly seasonal work, because you have to be extremely prepared to be emotionally exhausted to keep saying goodbye to these amazing people. Number 4, which I relate so hard to, is homesickness. And it just comes unexpectedly. Homesickness is like you kind of like miss your own home, like where you grew up, and you miss the old people and everything. But in my case, because I've been out of the States for 12 years, so there are some stuff that I still miss, like there's certain cereals and all that. Like I miss going and grab a coffee with my friends and just go a little walk and stuff like that. While here in France it's not quote unquote as popular, but because the French people, what they do is they don't like to grab the coffees to go. When they want the coffee to go, like if they want to go out and get a coffee, they're going to go to a restaurant and sit down and get a coffee. They're not up and around. So the culture is definitely not the same. But the issue in my case is I've been gone for so long that, yeah, I do miss certain things back in upstate New York. But every time I go back, it still does not feel like home. And like every time I go, like, well, I miss being friends because we do this, we do that, and just the culture. But every time I come back, it still doesn't feel home. For me personally, it feels like I'm a foreigner here where I'm at, and when I go back home and visit family. And it's extremely more difficult for me because I don't know which place I can call home. I don't know if I can say France is my home because I work here and everything. So that's my base home. But I also still have family back in Belgium and back in the States. And I lived in the States for 17 years. lived the majority of the time in Belgium with my mother, so I always have family there. And now I've been here in France for almost 5 years, so I don't necessarily feel a foreigner from all 3 countries, and none of them feel like 100% home, if that makes sense. So you do have to prepare the first few months. You're going to feel homesickness from your own country, but after a while, after being so gone, you're like, I don't want to go back home because it doesn't feel like home. I've grown. I want to still learn about all these cultures and everything. But when you go back to the country that you decide to move, it no longer feels like home either, because people notice that I'm not, besides the accent and everything, people know that I am not French. And the main reason is because of my accent and everything. So it's like very, very noticeable, and I still feel a foreigner to the French people, even though I adapted to the culture and everything. And that is just something that you need to be prepared for, is the unexpected homesickness. Next point I would like to mention is that there is a language barrier. Unless you're very, very smart, your IQ is very high, that I feel like there is still, the language barrier is always going to be there. While ordering a coffee is going to be so easy, but what's going to be very, very difficult to do is doing the taxes, making appointments to the doctors and everything. I literally have to make my mom make the phone call for me, because it's so much harder for other people to understand me when I speak in French while I'm speaking on the phone. Because first off, they're not expecting to hear a heavy accent like me and all that, but it's just so, if you're not like someone, if you're someone who is not in a similar situation like me, where you're truly by yourself, it's going to be extremely, extremely difficult, because it's going to be so hard to express on the things that you want to say. And not only that, because I only speak English and French, and I'm still sometimes translating English to French, and there's so many things I want to say, but I can't because I'm unable to say it in French, and it's just so frustrating to deal with. The only thing is, adding to not just the language barrier, what's going to also to add the stress is dealing with the visa papers, dealing with the taxes and all that. I'm lucky enough that I have 2 nationalities because of my mother. I was able to get the Belgian nationality, so I don't necessarily have to deal with the visa paperwork. So that's one of the big advantages that I can take on being in France, and why it might be so much easier for me to get a job compared to someone else, because no one wants to deal with the visa papers, and you have to go back to your country and then come back to the country that you want to work in. It's like very, very frustrating, and I feel so bad for the people who do have to deal with the visa papers and all that. So that's hence why I'm so grateful that I do not need to deal with the visa papers, but I still have to deal with my taxes. Now, while I'm here, the place I'm living, I don't necessarily have to pay bills, because it's my boss who gets a place for everybody that is working for him, because I'm working for a seasonal job and stuff like that. So I'm very, very lucky. I don't have to deal with that, but I still have to deal with my taxes, my healthcare, and all that. And let me tell you, it's so frustrating, and you truly, truly need to have the patience, because dealing with the papers while you're an immigrant, plus the language barrier, is like so frustrating to deal with, and so you just truly need the patience for it. Other than that, dating can be very, very complicated in our place you're in and in the country you're in, because the culture of dating is like extremely different where you're going to be. Not only that, the language barrier, which is, I feel like in Europe it's not that big a deal, because a lot of Europeans, the norm of speaking languages, they can, like, for them, like, speaking 3 to 4 languages is like, oh yeah, that's nothing. Where for me, it's like, oh my god, in America, we only speak 1 language, which is English, and they're only force you to speak English, and the only people that you know who know how to speak more than language is because most likely someone in the household does not know how to speak English, or they came from a different country and learned English, and they forced the child to learn their native language and stuff like that. But I feel like the majority of the time in America, I feel like that case is very, very low. So, welcome to Europeans, like, oh yeah, it's nothing. Like, in Belgium, there's 3 languages. Like, oh my god, like, how do you know 3 languages and stuff? Like, to me, that's like crazy. And I feel like sometimes, in some cases, you have to be okay. If you want to start dating someone, you have to be okay with the long distance relationship. And so you have to be okay with that. And just trying to adapt to the culture on what their views are, what the dating life is like in their culture. And that's like very, very difficult for me to try to understand on that part. Moving on is, I feel like since moving abroad, since being friends, I feel like my identity has changed so much on the way that I dress. Sometimes I don't feel like it has changed until I go back to the States. Well, like, just the way I dress and everything, and like, I'll just dress casual. I'm like, okay, so I dress casual. But the issue is, back in the States, the casual is wearing a pair of sweatpants or leggings, workout leggings, and something like that with a sweatshirt, and just go out, and that's casual. Well, I'm all dressed up, have my makeup, my hair done, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is just casual. And my identity, I'm like, I'm definitely not the same person when I am speaking French, when I am speaking English. And that's one of the things I feel like that's different. I feel like I know I've changed, but I don't know what a big change that has for me since living abroad. The only thing that's a big change for me that I know personally is just the way I dress and how I present myself. Moving on is, when you see people living abroad, you have to keep it in mind, you're only seeing when they go out and having fun. You're only seeing the people going out on skis and everything. It's like me, when I go out having a good time, taking myself out and everything, I will post it on Instagram and everything, and everybody will be like, oh, you have such a great life, nah. But the issue is that they don't show you the loneliness, because you are still by your own. Like, for example, I'm in France all by myself. My mom lives 10 hours, and it would take her 10 hours away on a car to come down here to come and see me. My best friend is like over 6,000 kilometers away from me and stuff like that. So I'm like quote unquote by myself, and no one sees that part of your life. So don't always believe that, oh, these people must have it good, their life is so amazing, and stuff like that. Which is, by the end of the day, yeah, my life might be amazing, but the issue is, you do not see the behind the scenes. You do not see the stress I can have of dealing with the taxes. You don't see the loneliness, because I can't go get up, get in a car, and go see my best friend and stuff like that. And those are the things that you need to keep in mind. Moving on, which is also very, very difficult, is when you decide to move abroad, you need to be okay on missing out on a lot of things. You're going to miss out on birthdays. You're going to miss on the supermarkets that you truly, like that one supermarket that you just fell in love, that you're like a hardcore fan of. You're not going to see that at a supermarket. You're going to miss family dinners. You're going to miss holidays with family and stuff like that. And that is something that you need to be okay with. That missing out on like a party events and everything. And that's just something that you need to be okay with. Because you're missing on these things, it doesn't mean in a bad way. But what it does is, it does teaches you how to like adapt to plans changing, or feeling uncomfortable, or feeling uncertain thing. Because it's short, like if you're able to do it and like miss on the things, but you're still able to create a life that you wanted, living in a country, having a job, and do all of these amazing things, it truly teaches you how stable you can be. It's like the most amazing thing you can get out of, and it really just boosts your confidence up. And not only that, despite all of the challenges like that I have mentioned throughout this video, it And I cannot explain on how it changes you in a person. Not in a bad way in some cases, but I feel like it changes you in a good way because it gives you that confidence and everything. Because like, oh wait, I can do this and all that. And I feel like it's an easy way to brag to everybody. Like, yeah, this is what I did and everything. For me, example, because now I travel a lot. And now the one thing that I will always brag about is I was able to go see Auschwitz, the camp Auschwitz, and I saw where Anne Frank had hid during the Nazis and everything. And I will 100% brag about that every time I go back to the States and everything, because the majority of a lot of people had not seen the camp and Anne Frank's house. Either they saw one of them or not at all. But both, I feel like it's very, very rare in the States. So that is something I will always brag about. So that's just something in me. I feel like, yeah, I might feel lonely at times because I miss some of the things that I grew up and everything. But I am very, very proud of the decision of me living in the States because I feel like it shaped me in a better person. As a better person I am as today than I was before. And I feel like if I didn't do that, I wouldn't be the person I am right now. So yeah. But that's basically it about what I mentioned. What's like living abroad and everything. If you guys like this video, give this video a thumbs up because it really helps out my channel. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel because it really helps me out. Leave a comment if you are living abroad or have lived abroad and would like to mention for other people who are thinking about it that I forgot to mention in this video, because I'm sure that might be very, very helpful for anyone out there. And I see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.